Hi there, Chaplaincy friends. I'm Cora.
I'm Madison.
I'm Jilu.
We are making Dorito turkey nuggets, roasted potato chips, and steamed broccoli today. But before we get started, there's a few things we need to do first.
So first of all, we're just gonna make sure that our hair is just tied back.
Next, we're gonna make sure we remove anything dangly and any jewelry from our hands or any necklaces or bracelets that might get in the way of us cooking.
The next thing is that we need to wash our hand before starting cooking.
So let's get ready. Let's start prepping, get all our stuff off and ready, and get our hands clean. Before we start prepping our food and cooking our food, we're gonna make sure we preheat our oven. So we gotta preheat our oven to 400 degrees. So go ahead and do that. We have our oven preheating. We're gonna start first with our potatoes. Our potatoes are gonna take a little bit longer than everything else to cook, so that's why we're gonna start with them. Before we start cooking and prepping them, let's make sure we got all our supplies for the potatoes. We'll need a bowl to mix our potatoes and spices in, a cutting board and a knife to cut the potatoes, some potatoes, some oil, some spices, and you'll also need a baking sheet and some parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, you can substitute for tin foil. So now that we got our supplies out, let's get started.
Start with washing potatoes.
So now that we have washed our potatoes, we're gonna cut them. Before we cut them, we're just gonna make sure that our hand is like this and our fingers are just out of the way so we don't cut them. And then we're just gonna slice. Try to get it thin, but it doesn't really matter. You can be any thick, thin, whatever you like best. Just move your hand back after when it starts getting close.
So go ahead and cut up all of your potatoes. All of our potatoes sliced. We're gonna add them to our bowl. And then we're gonna add our oil. You can use vegetable oil, olive oil, coconut oil, whatever oil you choose. So we'll add our oil in, and then we'll add our spices as well. So 2 tablespoons of oil. And I'm gonna add some salt and some pepper. More pepper than salt. And I'm also gonna add some garlic and onion powder. Oh, that doesn't wanna come out. All right, there's some garlic and some onion. Now that we got all our spices in, I just want you guys to mix it all up. You can use a spoon or your hands. Just make sure that you coat all of your potato pieces evenly in oil and spices. We've got our potatoes all coated in our oil. We need to prep our baking sheet. So we're gonna line it with parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, you can substitute for tin foil. So just take your piece and you're gonna line the baking sheet. This will help keep your sheets clean and protected, and it'll save you from ruining your parents' pans. So I'm sure they'll appreciate it.
Now our pan is ready and the potato is ready, so I'm just going to put the potatoes in the pan. Let's put like this way.
We got our potatoes spread out on our baking sheet. We want to make sure that we don't layer them too high. We want to make a nice thin, even layer of potatoes. So now that we're ready, we're going to throw them right in our oven. Now that we've got our oven, we're gonna set our timer and we're gonna cook our potatoes for 30 minutes, but we're gonna flip them halfway. So set your timer for 15 minutes and then we'll flip them and do another 15 minutes. Your 15 minutes are up and we need to flip our potatoes. Let's make sure we have an oven mitt. I know I'm not wearing the oven mitts, but you need to make sure you are wearing the oven mitts. So we'll pull our potatoes out and we'll give them a good flip. And then we're gonna put them back in the oven for another 15 minutes. Go ahead and flip those and pop them back in. Now that our potatoes are in the oven cooking, let's move on to starting on our turkey Dorito nuggets. So we'll start by pulling out all our supplies. So for ingredients, you will need your Doritos, your turkey, some eggs, and some flour. For other supplies we'll need to help cook, we'll need a measuring cup, a cutting board, a knife, 3 different bowls, and we'll also need to pull out a baking pan and tin foil. I forgot that, so I'm gonna go grab that out.
And now that we're back and we got out our baking sheet, we're just gonna line it with tin foil. If I can properly get it out. Oh, Now that we got the baking sheet lined up and we're saving our mom's pans, we're gonna talk about cutting.
So to cut our turkey, we're gonna follow some safe steps just like we did with the potatoes. We're gonna make sure that we have our knuckles inwards and our fingers pulled away from our knife. And we're gonna cut our turkey into little bits. So think of what a chicken nugget would look like. We want to make our turkey look like little nuggets because we're gonna bread them and have our own Dorito turkey nuggets. So go ahead, cut all your turkey up, and you want it to be about this big, nugget sized. So now that we've got all of our chicken cut up into our little nugget pieces, we're gonna crush our Doritos. So you can crush them right in the bag and just crush them fine, and we're gonna put them in the bowl after. So make your Dorito dust, crunched up Dorito breadcrumbs, and put it in your bowl. So this is how you want your Doritos to look before dumping them into the bowl. So make sure they're crushed up well and add them to your bowl.
So now that we have our Doritos all crumbled, I cracked one egg just to make it a little easier, and then we're gonna crack the other two together, okay? So you're just gonna do tap, and then when you hear it crack a little bit, you just break it open. Do the same one with the other. Oop. And break it open. And then you're just gonna grab your fork and you're just gonna beat it all together and mix it. So it's all nice and mixed in.
So now our Doritos and eggs are ready. So we are going to take a cup and a half of flour. So I'm having a half cup spoon. So I'm going to take a spoon.
So go ahead, add your cup and a half of flour to a bowl. Our egg and our flour ready. We're gonna set up our assembly line. So we'll start with our chicken, then our flour, then our egg, then our Doritos, and finally we'll put it all on our baking sheet. So we'll grab our piece of chicken, we'll move it around in the flour, dip it in, well coat it in the flour, and then we're gonna dip it in the egg. Make sure it's well coated in your egg. You don't want too much egg dripping off, so just give it a little bit of a shake or pull a little egg off. And then lastly, you're gonna put it right in your Doritos. And you wanna coat it well. So see how I'm coating it really well in the Doritos? Just like that. And then you're gonna add it to your baking sheet. So you're gonna repeat the assembly line with all your chicken pieces. So it's gonna go chicken, into the flour, into the egg, into the Dorito, onto the baking sheet. So you can go ahead and do that with all your pieces. Now that we have all of our turkey nuggets breaded with our Doritos, look at how beautiful and tasty that looks. We gotta cook them before we eat them. So we've already got our oven set to 400 because we already have our potatoes in there cooking. So we're gonna add our turkey nuggets in there. And our turkey nuggets need to cook for a total of 20 minutes. But we're gonna need to flip them halfway. So we're gonna set another timer on top of our potato timer for 10 minutes. So go ahead and set your timer and then we'll let those cook for a few minutes.
Now our Doritos turkey nuggets are cooked for 10 minutes. So I'm just going to take it out. Make sure that you have an oven mitts before taking it. Always use the oven mitts. So lift it up. This looks so good. I'm going to flip it.
So we'll get all of our turkey nuggets flipped and we can put them back in the oven for another 10 minutes. We got our delicious nuggets back in. Let's set our timer for another 10 minutes to let them finish cooking. Got our potatoes and our turkey nuggets cooking. We're gonna cook our broccoli. So the broccoli is only gonna take a few minutes. The directions are right on the package. So it says we're gonna stand the package up in the microwave and we're gonna leave it in the bag just as it is. We're not gonna do anything to the bag. And then we're gonna set our microwave for 6 minutes. And we're gonna let
now that the broccoli went off in the microwave, we're just gonna let it stand for a couple minutes just because it's hot and we just don't wanna burn our hands, okay?
Our broccoli has cooled down in the microwave for a minute or two because it was really hot. We're gonna bring it over to our bowl. If the broccoli is too hot, you can wear your oven mitts while you do this. And we're gonna open our broccoli up and dump it into our bowl. Our cooking time's lined up properly. Our potatoes and our turkey nuggets should be done at the same time. If they're not done at the same time, that's okay. Follow whatever timer is for that food before you pull it out. But in our case, we followed it well, so both of our dishes are ready. So we're gonna pull out our potatoes. Again, make sure you guys are wearing an actual oven mitt. You wanna protect your fingers from getting burnt. And we're also gonna pull out our chicken. We're gonna let both of these guys cool for a moment before we put them on our plate. So shut off your oven and let's let our food cool for a moment. Once we have all of our delicious food cooked, we can put it on a plate to eat. So your Dorito nuggets should be really crispy and tasty looking. Your potatoes should be little crispy chips too. And your broccoli should be fully cooked and tasty. So you can go ahead and eat it. Bon appetit, enjoy your awesome meal. Thanks for making it food with us, guys.
Bye everyone, enjoy your food.
Bye bye.